What's up, guys? I'm back. So this video is going to be for you if you've been working out for a few months or a few years and you're just not seeing growth on your arms. There's 5 common reasons that I've found that are holding you back from making gains on your arms. So I want to get into those, but just as a preface, this is kind of how I like to structure my list videos. The first 3 points are going to be more foundational. They're going to be very broad topics that apply to a lot of people for what's holding them back on their arm training. And then the last 2 are going to be more specific. I'm going to get into actual details of how you should be hitting your arms, what exercises to be doing, and a mindset that you should have when you go into your arm workout. So stay tuned for those 2 tips. But the thing is, those 2 tips aren't going to make any sense if you don't have the first 3 as your foundation. But before that, my name is Chris. I'm here to basically take the bro science and the nerdy science, mix it all up, take what's good and what's bad, and bring it to you clear and concisely so that when you're working out and you're trying to get your gains, you know exactly what to do and make it as easy as possible for you guys. So let's get started with reason number 1, and that is simply you are not eating enough. I've said this before in other videos and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna keep hammering it home. You cannot be trying to get shredded at the same time as you are trying to put on 2 inches on your arm. So if you're like, hey, I got 14-inch arms, I'm trying to get up to 16 inches, you have to be in a caloric surplus. You have to be eating a lot to basically build up that mass. That's the only way. You can't be in a caloric deficit and get shredded, get your 6-pack and all that stuff and expect to put 2 inches on your arms. I am gonna get more into depth on another video about caloric cycling. So basically how you can structure your calorie intake throughout the week, because a lot of people track it daily, but if you want to get more advanced, there's a way to do that on a weekly basis and even an hourly basis. So that's a little too much for this video, but like I said, another video, make sure you subscribe because I'm going to have another video that breaks down caloric cycling. Use your mass gainers, man. Go pound like a massive bowl of Chipotle after your arm workout. It's truly the only way that you're going to put on size. Number 2 is that you don't have a dedicated arm day. So a lot of people like to, maybe you'll hit biceps for an exercise or 2 after your back day, or you'll hit triceps for an exercise or 2 after your chest day. But the way that I've seen some real growth on my arms is to have a dedicated arm day. And trust me when I say this, like, arms have the biggest return on investment when it comes to aesthetics, because yes, inside of the gym, people are looking and they're like, oh man, that dude's got great legs, or he's got a great back, or you might see someone like Alex Eubank with the iconic chest because like he's shirtless in a lot of his videos and everything. But I'm telling you, outside of the gym, when you're in normal clothes and stuff, the arms are your greatest return on investment. When they hug your shirt nice and everything, that's when you're gonna have your old friends coming up and being like, dude, what happened? You blew up. You need to have a dedicated arm day, and that means 1 day out of the week where you are hitting only biceps and triceps and you're taking it to the max. And I'm talking like just like any other day. Say you hit legs for an hour and you're going hard and you're taking it to failure, you're doing the same exact thing with your arms. And again, I'm doing another video on that. It'll be actually the video after this where I'm gonna go in and do a full arm day workout so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about in this video, but put into practice. So again, subscribe for me so you get notified when that video comes out. I think that a lot of people, because they use it as like an accessory after like back day or chest day, they're missing a lot of small cues in their arm training that make a huge difference. And in that gym arm day session that I'm going to record, I will walk you through these small minute tweaks that you can make that make a huge difference, not only to your mindset, but to actually how you're hitting individual heads of your muscles, because they call it a bicep for a reason. It's got 2 heads. Triceps got 3 heads, and you got to make sure you're hitting all those heads if you want to see overall development and size. The third reason, and this kind of goes with the not eating enough, but you're not training hard enough. This goes with the other 2. Again, a lot of people are using arms as like a finisher, but if you really, really want to see growth on your arms, you have to train hard to failure. A lot of people will do back day and then, for example, they'll go do some curls just to like finish up with a pump. But in tip number 5, I'm going to teach you why that's wrong, so stay tuned for that. But you still have to keep that same intensity, and that's part of the reason why having a dedicated arm day is so powerful, is because you go in there with full energy and it's all directed towards your arms. I call it the bicep rule. Like, if you go in on arm day, you're not done with arm day until you can't touch your shoulder like this, right? If you go like this, I can barely do it now, 18-inch arms, but there's your proof of why I know what I'm talking about. But you shouldn't be able to touch your shoulders like this, right? If you still can, then you still have more work to do on your arm day. It's progressive overload, like I always talk about. You're looking for hypertrophy, so progressive overload all the time, meaning that if one day you're curling 20s for 12 reps, then the next day you need to either be curling 25s for 12 reps or 20s for 13 reps. Either up your weight every week or up your number of reps every week. You have to train intensely if you want to see growth. Here's where we're going to get more into the nitty-gritty and the specifics of it. This is something that my dad taught me, and I'm sure he's not the one that came up with it, but I remember when he was first training me, he explained this to me very simply. And the thing is, when people want to build their arms, they're usually, this is what they'll say, is like, how do I get bigger biceps? Right? That's always the question. It's not like, how do I get bigger arms? Sometimes, yes, but most of the time it's like, how do I grow my biceps? And I'll tell you why that's the wrong thinking. So if you look at the arm, right? Your biceps are only 1/3 of your arm. So 33% of your arm is your biceps. Your triceps are 66 or 2/3 the size of your arms. So if you come to me with the question of how do I grow my biceps, that's a whole different story compared to how do I grow my arms. So tip number 4 is you're not focusing on triceps as hard as you should be. And let me tell you this out of experience, triceps can handle a lot of load and intensity, a lot more than the biceps. The biceps get a lot of lactic acid after like a short time. That's how you get that pump, right? The triceps, that's why you have close grip bench press, you have overhead presses. I see a lot of people in the gym, they like to do their overhead presses with like one 15-pound dumbbell just to get a pump or whatever. But I implore you to start your workout with triceps first. You want to get those worn out. Again, for example, my favorite tricep workout is a dumbbell overhead press where you sit in the chair. You have a dumbbell press right here. I will show you the cues because a lot of people do those wrong, and there's some very small cues that will make a huge difference in your growth with those. But just for the sake of this video, go heavy with those. That is your main compound lift for growing your arms. I'm telling you right now. If you can work up to the point where you're doing like 80, 90, 100-pound dumbbells over your head for reps, you are gonna see growth on your arms, guaranteed, okay? The rest of the stuff, you know, there's other exercises that we'll go through in the actual workout video, but focus on your triceps. That's probably one of the biggest tips of this video. If you take anything away from this video, let it be that. A lot of people focus on their biceps. They want to get bigger biceps, but what they really mean is they want bigger arms. Focus on your triceps. It makes a huge difference. You can get the mass down here and you can get the head right here. You want that horseshoe shape, and that's what makes your arms look big. If you can tell, my biceps are actually lacking a little bit. I don't have a huge peak like some dudes have, and that comes down to muscle insertions, which I can do a whole video on that too. But because of the tricep development, it has that bigger size look to it that you would say, oh, that guy's got huge biceps. I really don't. So that's tip number 4. So tip number 5 is actually going to get into the nitty gritty of specifically how to structure your workout with arm day. I'm gonna have to do a whole video on how I like to structure my workouts mentally, like doom, you know what I mean? Like in a progress. It's hard to explain in such a short video, but I will do another video on that. But the story in a nutshell is, for arm day, the structure of my arm days is pump, heavy, burnout. So let me explain that a little bit better. The first stage of it is pump. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get blood flowing to my biceps and my triceps. Typically, this is gonna mean that I'm gonna go do barbell curls until I get a pump. It's not even counting reps or anything like that. It's just getting a pump, and then I'll go do tricep pushdowns to get a pump here. These aren't the ones where you need to be worried about progressive overload and increasing your weight or whatever. This is literally just your warm-up phase where you're saying, hey guys, arms, it's time to wake up because I'm about to destroy you, right? So first stage is pump. Get the blood flowing to your arms and let them know, hey, you're about to get wrecked. Second stage is your mass building stage. This is the heavy stage. So this is what I was talking about, doing the overhead presses. You're gonna go as heavy as possible, track those lifts, and go heavier every week or more reps every week, but go heavy. So that means if you're gonna grab some dumbbells, go as heavy as you can, get 8 to 12 reps, as heavy as you possibly can on curls or tricep pull downs or whatever you decide to do. Again, tomorrow's video will be a lot better at showing you what specific exercises, but this is gonna give you a structure of how you should be thinking. So you got pump to wake up your muscles, then you got your heavy sets where you're gonna be doing as much weight as you can. That's really just gonna start breaking the muscle down. And then by the end of your workout is the third stage, what I call burnout phase. So this is basically, for me, my burnouts are usually like going over to cables because you have complete tension always on the cables. So I'll go and do cable curls until my arms want to fall off. This is taking that last bit of blood and getting it pumped straight into that muscle and burning it out. Like, this is where you get to the point where you can't touch your shoulders anymore because you have such a pump. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's burnout. And the good thing about cables too, and I'll show this in the video, is that you can do cheat reps. So you're burning out, getting that last bit of blood in, right? And then you get here, and I want you to take it to the point where your arm will not bend anymore. Either whether it's a curl or if it's a cable pull down, your arm will not bend anymore. The good thing about doing it on cables with one arm is now you can use this hand and cheat. Do some cheat reps, get it, force it. CT Fletcher said this in a video a long time ago. I know a lot of you guys aren't gonna know CT Fletcher, but there was a scene where he was doing preacher curls and he was yelling at his bicep because he was saying it wanted to give up, it wanted to stop the set. But you're in control. You are telling the muscle, I'm forcing you to grow, right? So when you get here and you can't bend your arm anymore, use this hand, cheat, or use this hand, cheat, right? Get those last little bit reps in until your arms literally feel like they are gonna fall off. If you have felt that before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to follow this and then come back and comment and be like, yo, you were serious. Stage 1 is pump, wake up the muscles, say, hey, it's time to go, guys. Stage 2 is heavy. I'm going as heavy as possible. I'm treating it just like it was bench press for my chest, but for my arms. And then stage 3 is burnout. I'm taking you guys all the way to failure. I want nothing left in the tank by the time I'm done working you guys out. So like I said, most likely you're missing 1 or maybe 2 of these tips, but if you do implement them, I guarantee you're gonna see growth in your arms. They are very easy tips, but easier said than done, right? My next video is gonna be actually walking through one of these arm workouts, so you're not gonna wanna miss that because it's gonna take all these 5 tips, blend it into something tangible that you can see. You're not gonna wanna miss that. Subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys thought about this video. If it was helpful, that's freaking awesome. If you wanted more tips or have any more questions, let me know. If you can't tell, I can talk about this stuff all day. So until tomorrow's video, guys, thank you for spending your time with me, and peace.